Welcome to Tribulation, day 139, and the world continues to spiral downwards into chaos. The stock market today is down. Last time I checked, it was like 100 and something points. And that was, based on some supposed good news yesterday of Germany voting to bail out Greece. But, it's all fake. And none of it's going to work. Whether it's America or the EU, to continually print more money and to keep lending people that can't pay you back more money. In real life, like right now, I wouldn't expect anybody to give me a loan except the government. Because the United States government, they don't care whether you can pay a loan back or not. I got my student loan, and, that's not having any job. So, that's one of the next, we had the housing fiasco and the banking fiasco. Well, that's the next thing to kind of hit is the thousands and thousands of people that have taken the government loans that they can't pay back. But, over in Europe, all these countries like Greece and whatever, they're not going to pay anything back. So, the complete collapse of the global economic model is still coming. Crap rolls downhill. And, the investors out there, they know that. So, once again, if you're smart, you'll get the hell out of the market. We kind of had the solar alignment yesterday. The sun, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and the moon all kind of lining up in the constellation Virgo. Possible fulfillment of prophecy. But, nothing major. No rapture of the church. But that being said, I kind of keep an eye on the earthquakes around the world, the volcanoes. I use two websites, thewatchers.com and the 2012 Extinction Protocol. And, basically around the world, things are still getting worse. Like the Philippines getting hit by two hurricanes in a row, massive flooding. There's outbreaks of disease everywhere, including here in America. We got this listeria with the cantaloupes, and now they're finding it in lettuce. And, it's all symptoms of the same thing, that the earth is heading towards, some kind of climax of transformation. And as you saw in the video yesterday, 3 days of chemtrails in the skies above San Jose. By lunchtime yesterday, there was this huge X that seemed like it was right above my condo. And I was thinking, man, am I being targeted? Maybe. But you know what? I don't care, because I got nothing to lose. I'm the most dangerous person in the world. But, for the last 3 days, we've had just blistering hot weather, upwards to 100 degrees. And then today, this morning, these thick, dark clouds came in from the east. And, the temperatures around here in San Jose have now dropped about 20 degrees. It's about 60 degrees out. But to me, the clouds just seemed unnatural. First just coming from the east, because you would actually expect clouds here in San Jose to come from the west off of the ocean, especially if they're loaded up with a bunch of moisture. Now, I know some people might say, well, the way weather works is the storms are always this, spinning, kind of like a hurricane or whatever, so clouds can come from, whatever direction, depending on which way the storm's blowing. But you know what? There's no wind. And even, the last 3 days of these chemtrails, they hang in the air forever because there's a slight breeze, but these clouds really aren't moving anywhere, So it was just really weird how these clouds came in, and it wasn't fog. Normally in San Jose we'd get fog, and then it seemed like the clouds were just over San Jose, and then they just kind of disappeared. So now the sun's out, but it's, about 20 degrees cooler today than it was yesterday. What does it all mean? I don't know, but, I had a couple people comment on yesterday's blog about orbs and, Project Bluebeam and controlling weather. Hey, I think that's all in play, man, But, I think what's also in play is that, God is going to put his finger into the mix and show everybody that, when he decides to manipulate our reality, it's going to change on a scale that is going to be beyond comprehension. Whereas whoever it is, whether it's Satan, the Illuminati, our government, whoever, spraying those chemtrails up there, whatever they're trying to do, they're just a bunch of fools. Just like the people building their houses underground, the government, if they think they're going to escape what's coming by going into some underground bunker, they're going to find out the hard way. They're going to be sealing themselves into their own tombs. But, to me, there's a methodology out there right now. It's across the world, and it's here in the United States. It's the process of divide and conquer. Separate everybody, get them, playing against each other, keep them distracted. We got the March on Wall Street in New York. I have no idea what that's really accomplishing. We got the Middle East, the Arab Spring, which is turning into the Arab Summer and the Arab Fall. People still being killed in Syria. We got in Iran, they're about to execute a pastor for his belief in Christianity, and I actually think that has huge relevance because it could be the first of many. And that to me is a sign, because I think that's slowly coming about, which is making Christians, the target of hate, and eventually, making it where if you actually are going to profess your faith in God and Jesus, that you're putting your life on the line. And you're going to be viewed as some kind of evil person for believing in God, believe it or not. I actually watched a show on the History Channel the other night called Decoded. And, it's got 4 of the stupidest people you're ever going to see in your life on that show. Some bald-headed geek as the host, and then these 3 complete idiots. This woman who claims to be an engineer, some fat dude, and some other dude, and they are just as dumb as a rock. But the show that I watched, they were actually examining the Statue of Liberty to see if there was, some kind of hidden meaning or message, in the statue itself. And despite talking to a bunch of people that provided all sorts of evidence on, the evil, sinister forces aligned behind the statue, the Illuminati, Satan, they didn't want to believe that. And that's the stupid thing about that show is that they're not seeking the truth. They've already formed their opinions, and they're just, trying to manipulate and, be a part of the deception. And, the whole show, they just kept saying, oh, it can't possibly be that, can't possibly be that. And then, towards the end, they met with some pastor, or maybe he was a rabbi, but he quoted a verse out of Isaiah. When they were like, man, could the Statue of Liberty have some kind of satanic, Luciferian, context or meaning? And he was like, oh, yeah, it's got Luciferian. And they were like, oh, no. But he was like, oh, no, good news. Luciferian isn't this negative thing, it's positive, it's an angel of light, it's knowledge, it's being illuminated. and he quoted, I think maybe it was Isaiah 53. I may have that verse wrong, but he was basically saying, hey, Lucifer was a term they used for the morning star and for getting educated and being a light to the world. And so the three idiots on that show just said, oh, thank God, Lucifer's a good thing. Here we were thinking the Statue of Liberty had some kind of evilness to it. And that's how the show ended. And I just thought, man, there's probably millions of people that just watch that and totally believe it. So, the deception's on. We got our president and the powers that be. Forget about Democrats or Republicans. They're both playing the same game. It's all about divide and conquer, labeling people. And Obama, I've already said it, he's a liar, he's a bamboozler. Everything about him's phony and fake, and the stuff he says just doesn't make any sense, but nobody seems to care. Like when he said, hey, I'd rather be a great one-term president versus being a shitty two-term president. Well, you know what? That's no such thing. You might as well be talking about unicorns and, fairies, because if you're a great one-term president, you're going to be a two-term president, and if you're a shitty one-term president, you're not going to be a second-term president. So nobody jacks him up and says, what the hell are you talking about? And then today, our government killed another terrorist, Al Awlaki. He's an American born terrorist living in Yemen. And, Obama got on TV right away. I killed him. And it's amazing because here we got a president that, the whole time he was running his campaign to get elected, he was casing on George Bush for capturing and putting terrorists in prison and saying that even putting them under a military court trial was wrong. And then, with his dumbass Attorney General, Eric Holder, he said, oh, we're going to put him on trial in New York and give him civilian trials. And, that whole fiasco cost us millions of dollars and delayed justice, so, and he said, oh, I'm going to close down the prison down there in Guantanamo because we're torturing people and we don't want to torture and we can't be holding people indefinitely and we got to give them a fair trial. And yet, Guantanamo's still open. He never gave any of them a fair trial, and now it's perfectly okay to just bomb people from the air with Predator drone guided missiles. Whether it's Osama bin Laden or the guy they just killed, they don't get a fair trial, and it doesn't matter if they're killing innocent people along with them. So Obama is as fake as a $3 bill. And he's just conning us all. His whole let's tax everybody to death and grow the government, let the government be your God. It's all part of the same big deception. So, things aren't getting better. Things are getting worse. And you know what? The next election isn't going to come in time to save anybody. So, who cares who the Republicans nominate? I got to admit, I like a few guys. Christie's okay. I like Gingrich. And, Herman Cain, I kind of like him, but there's something just about his name, Herman Cain, that, I'm just thinking, man, is this another deception being laid upon us? A guy that seems to be saying the right things, but there's something behind the thing, and I'm not trying to cast any, negativity towards him, but I just think it's amazing, that his last name is Cain, because I've been kind of, throwing out the concept of the seed of Satan, which started with Cain possibly being the son of Satan. So I don't know. I'll be looking at the whole thing, but I just think, right now, we just went through this whole Comet Elenin thing, which was a big distraction. NASA gave their little speech yesterday, and, they were basically saying, hey, we got nothing to worry about, which I'm thinking it's the exact opposite. We got something to worry about. So I'm still thinking we're in this window the next 3 months, whether it's massive earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, tsunamis, and possibly a comet hitting our planet. But, if you think the government's going to tell us that, then you're as dumb as those 3 or 4 people on that show Decoded on the History Channel. So, only time will tell. I'm going to keep my eye to the ground Once again, we got to, focus on what's important, which is getting our values straight, not being sucked up into the distractions of everyday life, whether it's the Michael Jackson trial, which, who cares, or, materialistic things, how to pay for college, how to pay for your